Join us on the last bus home.
And that's why it oozes out rather than drips.
Well, I never.
You wouldn't have thought it, but it's true.
Well,
Yeah,
consider me learned.
I will. That was a bit of free education for you.
Just part of travelling on the bus, mate. Speaking of which,
Oh, all of it. So, I've got something for you this time, Lee. I've got flying monsters.
oh,
So we've got cryptids of the air.
nice.
Without further ado, let's go.
Let's do this.
So we're going to start with the Piasa bird. Okay. The Piasa bird, also called the bird of the evil spirit or the bird that devours men, is a fire-breathing winged creature or dragon featured in legends of the Illini tribe. It was depicted in one of two murals painted by Native Americans along the Mississippi River near present-day Alton, Illinois. Illinois being where the Ili tribe are from. The original was lost and was replaced with a new bluff just a few yards upstream from an original place where it was found. So you've probably seen this. It's like a cave painting, but not in a cave. It's on a big rock along the river, and it's just this big creature, winged creature. The creature was said to have snatched members of the tribe living near the river. It had a shuddering scream that was said to shake the earth below. Even though it's not likely that anyone would miss it, it's very sneaky and mischievous. When you hear the scream of the beast, you're dead. Even though it had one weakness, it was very hard to take this beast down. It took years and blood spilled just to find out what its weakness was. The natives and Father Jacques Marquette, or Jacques, should I say, Marquette, had very different descriptions. Natives thought this was what it looked like. Its body was much the size and shape of a horse. Long, white fangs stabbed upwards from the protruding lower jaw, and flames leapt from its nostrils. Two white, deer-like horns angled wickedly from its head. I'm not sure what a wicked angle is, as opposed to a 30-degree angle, or 40, I don't know. But it's wicked. Its huge wings pounded the air with such force the trees bent. Its stubby legs held dagger-like talons, and its spiked tail wound around the grotesque body 3 times. So that's what the natives said it looked like. Father Jack, on the other hand, while skirting some rocks which by their height and length inspired awe, we saw upon one of them 2 painted monsters which at first made us afraid, and upon which the boldest savages dare not long rest their eyes. I apologise, I'm quoting Father Jack. This is not me, this is not the opinion of the reader, that these people are savages. I'm just quoting Father Jack. Anyway, they dare not long rest their eyes on it. They are as large as a calf. They have horns on their head like those of a deer, a horrible look, red eyes, a beard like a tiger's, a face somewhat like a man's, and a body covered with scales, and so long a tail that it winds all around the body, passing above the head and going back between the legs, ending in a fish's tail. Green, red, and black are the 3 colours composing the picture. Moreover, these 2 monsters are so well painted that we cannot believe that any Native American is their author. for good painters in France would find it difficult to reach that place conveniently to paint them. They are in a pretty weird place, like halfway up a cliff above a river in a valley.
Would you say really big as well?
Gorge.
Big size?
Yeah, massive. Yeah. But you'll find those pictures in most monster books, to be honest. So, the mural of the Piasa bird was created on a limestone rock, causing it to regularly require restoration in order to keep the image clear, near the American Bottom floodplain in what is now the Metro East region of southern Illinois. Each time a member of the tribe passed the painting, they would shoot an arrow at the painting as a salute to Chief Utoga, a practice that distorted the mural even further. It was first discovered in 1673 by a French missionary named Jacques Marquette and a French explorer named Louis Joliet in the bluffs 40 feet above the river. The image was eventually seen by Robert de La Salle, along with many other French explorers at the time. In the early 19th century, William Dennis created the first sketch of the painting, labelling it the Flying Dragon. Later accounts included a lithograph by John Caspar Wilde and a drawing by Swiss artist Rudolf Friedrich Kurz, who described the painting as a colossal eagle. So we're getting a lot of descriptions here. So the legend. The village was a secure and happy place. Chief of the Illini was Utoga, or Watoga, and he was old and had led his tribe in the ways of peace for most of his lifetime. Watoga and his people loved their home and their way of life. Then one morning, as the sun began to climb towards the summit of its cloudless sky, terror touched the Illini. The village stirred. A number of young braves were leaving on an early morning fishing expedition, and some were already on the river in their canoes, others preparing to embark, when suddenly the very earth seemed to shudder with the sound of an alien scream. The Piasa bird attacked and took one of the braves, and after that it got worse. It came back, picking them off one by one. The village felt helpless. They turned to their chief to find a solution to this disaster. The creature seemed invulnerable, and even greatest of the village could not beat it. Watoga appealed to the Great Spirit. For nearly a full moon he prayed and fasted. Then in the dream he found the answer. The body of the Piasa bird was not protected under the wings. After offering thanks to the Great Spirit, Watoga called the tribe together and devised a plan that could destroy the Piasa bird. They fastened and sharpened their arrows, waiting for the beast to come to the village to snatch up another person. Suddenly, the scream of the Piasa bird broke the silence, and the winged monster swept into view. Immediately, it sighted Watoga, and with what seemed to be a shriek of delight, it pounced, as did Watoga. It fell to the ground and grasped the strong roots that grew there. The pain of the talons sinking into his flesh inspired him to grip the roots even more tightly. As the Piasa bird raised its great wings in an effort to carry off its victim, the 6 braves stepped from their hiding place and shot 6 poisoned arrows into the unprotected place beneath the beast's wings. Again and again, the bird raised its wings to fly, but Watoga held fast, and each time 6 poisoned arrows drove into the bird's vulnerable spot. Finally, the poison did its job, and with a scream of agony, the Piasa bird released its hold on Watoga and plunged down to the bluff to disappear forever in the swift waters of the great river. Carefully, tenderly, the braves carried Watoga to his teepee, where, in time, he was nursed back to health. Then a great celebration was held in the camp of the Illini. The next day, Terahi Onawakaka mixed paints and, carrying them to the bluff, painted a picture of the Piasa bird in tribute to the victory of Watoga and the Illini. Every time an Indian passed the painting, he shot an arrow in salute to the bravery of Watoga and deliverance from the Piasa bird.
Nice. That's a banging story.
Oh.
Okay, so I have some questions.
Mm-hmm.
How prevalent are winged creatures in Native American lore? So I know we've got the skinwalker and all the obvious kind of ones, the more land animals, but this is the first, not that I'm too into my Native American lore, don't probably know enough, but I've never come across a winged beast before. There might be all the rage, but do you know?
Well, I believe.
It would just be interesting if this was like a one-off, because it's like, what did they see?
No, there's a few.
They do have a
Because
few.
the next one we're going to cover is also a Native American one.
Cool.
But South America also has them, but they have colossal birds anyway.
Just before we did move on to the next one, what are you feeling about this one? Because it's a really cool story, and for them to create just a big like mural on the cliff face, which probably took a lot of skill. You know what I mean? That pricks up my truth meter, and I'm thinking these boys saw something.
It could be just an extinct version of what we're going to move on to next, because there's that fake picture of the guys in Texas who brought down a pterodactyl.
Those guys, those dudes.
Isn't it? But I'm thinking there were some pretty big birds flying around like the mountains and stuff,
Yeah.
and become extinct, like just hunted down. So there was that. But when it comes to horns and tail, I'm just wondering if it was an angry like owl, because thinking of the horns, owls tend to have like eyebrows, don't they? Or maybe even a harpy eagle. Have you seen them? They're pretty. Harpy eagles are pretty gnarly looking. They look like they've got horns.
Yeah, exactly. And if, some of these boys were supping down a little of the old cactus juice, they might have just stared up at an eagle and saw this winged beast. You never know, do you?
Well, I don't know how many cactuses there are in Illinois, but they could be on the special mushrooms. So let's move on. I've got, in shortly, I have no answer for what the Piasa bird might be, because although it's been called a bird, because there was a picture of a creature with wings, so they've gone with wings. So they haven't taken in the 4 legs into account and called it a cow. They've gone with the wings and called it a bird, but others call it a dragon.
I'm thinking
Some
dragon.
say it has scales, some don't. Some say it has a horrible face, some say it has a human horrible face. So, some says it has horns, others say it has a wicked horn. Oh, horns at a wicked angle, should I say.
I'm all about those wicked angles.
I've never really thought about them until now, and now I'm going to look out for wicked angles.
Do it. Go take a deuce at a wicked angle. See how that feels.
Hell's angles.
Hell yeah.
Right, so next we have thunderbirds.
Oh, no strings attached.
Not the marionettes.
Damn.
No, these are what they are, thunderbirds.
Nice.
So, native tribes all across North America, especially along the Pacific coast, and in the Great Lakes area. So we're up kind of Illinois again. Being the Great Lakes area, it is a small part of it. So they have stories depicting enormous birds of prey. Some stories told that these birds were so large and powerful that when they flapped their wings, thunder was created. Lightning flashed out of their eyes and water fell off their backs, creating rain. The tribes used the thunderbirds to explain some of the things that happen naturally, such as storms and other forms of weather. The legend of the Passamaquoddies, I hope that doesn't come up again, for example, describes the quest of two Native Americans in search of the source of thunder high in the mountains. Other stories said that there was a thunderbird who battled an enormous killer whale. When the two beasts fought, they destroyed much of the land, knocking down trees and causing much destruction. Although dangerous and powerful beings, thunderbirds were also seen as benevolent nature spirits, and they sometimes assisted the tribes in their search for food during periods of famine. The igneous rocks known as thunderstones are the eggs of these creatures, according to some legends. Now, that's essentially a Native American legend explaining storms. Okay.
Yep.
However, in 1977, now you will have heard of this, in Lawndale, Illinois, there was a thunderbird attack.
What?
Actually happened in the year of our Scott, 1977.
Nice.
Lawndale, Illinois thunderbird attack was a reported attack by two unidentified birds on a young boy. The attack occurred on July the 25th, 1977. 10-year-old Marlon Lowe was playing outside when he was suddenly attacked by two large birds, one of which temporarily picked him up and carried him over 30 feet before Marlon's mum, Ruth, ran to her son's rescue, chasing the birds away and then recovering her traumatized son. Reportedly, several eyewitnesses had seen the attack take place. The birds were described as having a white ring around their necks, a 4.5-foot body with each wing approximately 4 feet long, 6-inch hook-like bill, 3 front claws and 1 back claw, and a large black body. Now, thunderbirds today is basically, we're going to go into what they are. Now, that description there, so we've got a 4-foot body, a white ring round the necks. That's sounding a lot like an Andean condor to me.
See,
I don't know if
right.
you've seen one at Lotherton Hall.
Yes.
There was that really big black thing with the white round its neck, and that was a
Yes.
big bird.
Nice. See, I was just going with a typical seaside seagull. You seen those boys when they go in for the chips? Savage.
They are. But
Big as
you
well.
can hear them coming.
That's
But
true.
yeah, it does sound like a condor to me. But do condors, Andean condors, come as far up as top end of North America? I mean, who's the boss of them, ultimately? I mean, just because they're from the Andes, who's to say they can't go where they want to?
Exactly. And I can totally see him attacking some kids.
Some little mullet head.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, 4-foot body. That's a big bird, and it would put the. It'd give me the fear, for sure. So yeah, thunderbirds today. Argentavis, a giant prehistoric condor compared to a human. This is a plausible explanation for the thunderbird. Thunderbird. So yeah, that's a prehistoric condor. So they were probably slightly bigger, like big as a human. If humans were 4 foot. So although prehistoric, I don't think we need to be saying that it could be a prehistoric condor, because I think just a perfectly run-of-the-mill, off-the-shelf, standard condor is plenty big enough to be picking a kid up by his dungarees.
Exactly, and even just a gnarly condor has been in a few fights is going to look messed up.
So sightings of large bird-like creatures have been reported for many years, at least since people began settling further west in the United States and Canada. One of the most famous reports is from 1890, when two Arizona cowboys claimed to have shot and killed a large bird. It was described as having no feathers, and it had a head similar to that of an alligator. The two men supposedly dragged the dead bird back down to town after killing it. The report seems to suggest that this creature looked more like a pterodactyl or a dragon than a modern-day bird. I'm wondering if that's the one that there's that pretty popular photograph, which has been proven to be fake. So there we go. But yeah, it was about 4 or 5 cowboys stood outside a barn, and there's a pterodactyl laid on the floor.
I do know.
So today, you are.
I do know that. I have seen that one. It's piss funny.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's that story. So today, cryptozoologists usually refer to the Thunderbird legends in the same way as any flying cryptids, such as the Kongamato, the Roc, R-O-C, or the Ropen, and sometimes even the Jersey Devil. Now, the Jersey Devil is a flying cryptid, but I've not included it because that's a bus of its own. So these flying creatures are often associated with modern-day pterosaurs. Many of the encounters with the creatures, including the Thunderbirds, are all described similarly. Quite often, the creatures are said to resemble pterosaurs, which were thought to be extinct for millions of years. Which I believe they have been, personally. It would be nice, but I just don't think. Right then, so we're going to head down to see the old South America here with some challenging words for me to pronounce. So the Aquialabopa was a huge bird god of the Pueblo people. He is described as being of extraordinary size and having rainbow-coloured feathers as sharp as knives. It was considered a celestial creature and may have once been attributed to the whole of creation. Aquialabopa is an extraordinary-sized bird with beautiful rainbow wings. It can be a symbolic of the great eagle of Zeus, ancient Greek god of the sky. Due to the fact that Aquialabopa wasn't as famous as the phoenix or any other birds, the belief of it remains unchanged. This means that the Pueblo people still believe in it as their god of celestial, or the stars. Another fact is that the belief of this winged rainbow god seems to be fading away. As I have been researching for the legends and mythologies, stories and facts about it, every source says the same thing, that it is a god of the sky. There is not any source that says something bad about it besides one thing, that it could kill people who don't respect it by a flap of its sharp wings. Aquialabopa is one of the kind birds that rule its place with kindness and good. So I feel bad for putting it in a class as a flying monster. According to George M. Eberhardt, the author of the book called Mysterious Creatures, A Guide to Cryptozoology, Aquialabopa is just another name for the mighty thunderbird of the North America. The name could possibly be given to the thunderbird flew by from North American to Pacific Northwest. When comparing about the information I know about the thunderbird, the size, the figures, they could be the same bird, even though they have some different appearances. For example, feathers, colours, etc. I somehow thought that if they were likely to be the same creature in any chance, each of them could be symbolic of emotions. In other words, Thunderbird could be the symbolic of furious, aggressive, like thunderstorm, and the Aquialabopa, on the other hand, is symbolic of calmness and clear and beautiful sky and rainbow after heavy storms. So that was George M. Eberhardt's take on it. So, yeah, the Axialabopa, as they say, seems to be the antidote to the Thunderbird.
Yeah, it's a nice bird. You get good monsters. We've all seen Monsters, Inc. It happens.
True. But just don't disrespect it because its bladed wings will have you.
That's pretty cool. We've only had one fire breather as well. Am I right in thinking?
No, the Piazza bird, apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's not going to be the best use of the words, however. That's the realistic ones done. Now I've got some silly ones for you. And yeah, I've got a few sillies. So you'll like these. So, first of all, the airborne frogman.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, also known as the Coney Island monster.
Hell
Is
yeah.
a strange humanoid creature reportedly sighted by many residents of Coney Island, New York City. This creature was sighted at least, that was until the summer of 1880, when someone else decided to frolic above Coney Island as well. The thing was seen, it was flying several hundred feet above the water. Hundreds saw it, and it was described as mostly human-looking, but with large bat wings and the legs of a frog. And as the creature's wings flapped, a loud sound could be heard. Most here fascinated, still more terrified, the creature was dubbed the Coney Island Monster. So we have a man-bodied, bat-winged, frog-legged creature.
He sounds funny.
He sounds like an episode of something. But yeah, that's the airborne frogman. Short and very silly.
I like that one. Coney Island, educate me.
Coney Island. All I know about Coney Island, isn't that where the Warriors was set or started?
That's kind of how I had it in my head. Sorry to our American listeners.
The "Can you dig it" speech. I'm pretty sure that all happened on Coney Island.
Yeah, I'm seeing boardwalks and a cool old, kind of seaside fair.
Yeah. Bit of shuffleboard and whatever.
Nice. And then some muffed up frog dude.
Yeah, some bat-winged frog-legged man thing.
I like it.
Yeah. Wonder if he had a name.
I'm guessing Coney Island, back in the day as well, probably had its own freak show when that stuff was accepted. So maybe this dude escaped. Who knows?
Possibly. Or it was just some nutcase trying out some early jetpack.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
Who knows? So, this now brings us on to flying felines. So, Brad Perry related this tale of winged cats to me in spring 2007. So, I've taken here somebody's account of flying felines because you can only go by someone's story because there are no facts out there. So yeah, in 2007. So far, I haven't been able to verify it. The Cyrax, or winged cat, was first described to Brad by his elderly grandmother, Corrine Perry, or Corrine Young Perry, in 1954, and had evidently been transmitted orally within the family. According to her, in nature there were many monsters and mistakes. The winged cat was one such aberration that was thought to be familiar of adept Wiccans, and was used to spy on the encroaching Christian hordes migrating from France and Italy, the period from about 300 AD to 790 AD. In 1901, Corinne Young and her husband, 21 years her senior, were married as Lutherans, although she also seemed to know much of the old ways, herbalism and myths and stories related to Wicca. There is even a tale of a winged big cat known as the Cat a Mountain. The explorer Marco Polo reported the existence of a large predatory cat in the Far East with the body of a leopard, but a strange skin that stretched out when it hunted, enabling it to fly in pursuit of its prey. It's highly unlikely that a lion or similarly sized cat could survive with the FCA condition, so the Cat a Mountain is most likely an imagined hybrid, a big cat and a large bat, or a big cat and a flying squirrel, which has flaps of skin enabling it to glide. Later authors used the term to describe a wild cat, and in the 17th century it had been abbreviated to catamount, and was used as a synonym for the American mountain lion, cougar, or puma. So the winged cats of myth and legend were often demonic creatures with feathered wings and liable to swoop down on humans. Cats were all too often associated with the devil, hence there were evil bat-winged cats in superstition. Below is a detail from a Kircher engraving. Obviously there's a picture, but you can't see it. From 1667, depicting a curious mix of cat's head, bat's wings and human torso. The later picture by Granville in the 19th century is an anthropomorphic image of cats in the form of angel, demon and humanized cat. It is the angelic image which seems to have persisted into modern times, while the image of a bat-winged demonic cat has been consigned to history. So, flying cats, what are your thoughts? I mean, cats do have the primordial pouch, which looks like a saggy belly, but it's just kind of skin, but that's for fighting or
I didn't know
surviving
that.
fights. Yeah, like a Shar-Pei's skin or a honey badger's.
Right.
It's it's more protective for fighting.
Well, in my head, I think I always associate cats, felines with ancient Egyptian, kind of like Stargate type shit, where it's not quite right, but you know what I mean. And I just pictured this, just this barrage of like flying cats, basically, and it's probably pretty terrifying because you know if a cat doesn't like you, they're going to let you know about it.
So I was thinking more like if you put bat wings on Lion-O.
You're thinking more beast-wise. I was going more house cat with wings, which again is terrifying. If I go to someone's house and the cat, as cats do, maybe decides they don't like you and they go for a few swipes, just imagine a load of them with wings. No thanks. I'll take that Native American dragon beast any day of the week.
Yeah, a swarm of winged cats. That's a lot of claws.
It is a swarm of arsehole cats. No thanks. I'll take fire-breathing dragons any day.
Swooping in, knocking your drinks off the table.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, exactly. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Whew.
Doesn't sound good. Okay, so next we have sky serpents.
Oh, yes. Hit me up, brother.
So, sky serpents are snakes or elongated serpentine dragons that appear to float or fly in the air. They typically move in an undulating fashion, as if they were sea serpents of the air. They are not the same as ordinary flying dragons because they manage to fly without wings, like most Asian dragons that have the ability to fly. Because the Asian ones are more worm-like, aren't they?
Yep.
Some sky serpents are seen to have different colours and textures than other sky serpents, which are sighted all around the world. Sky serpents are sighted all over the world, including America, during the 20th century. So you've got the whole world and America.
And America.
Yeah. In a region of Poland, Oscar Henrik Kohlberg described local villagers seeing flying snakes and dragons in the past, but the villagers also said to Oscar that they were extinct some time ago. These are the same people. So there must be an oral tradition there from this region of Poland. Some sky serpents look very much like ordinary snakes, except that they are huge and in the wrong place. Other sky serpents have some dragon features, including the ability to breathe fire or lightning. Sky serpents are so strange that if they are real at all, it is hard to imagine how they might be natural animals. Unless they are really atmospheric beasts or perhaps UFOs that are somehow disguised as living creatures, it would seem that sky serpents must be relegated to the realm of the supernatural. Therefore, not many cryptozoologists are interested in them. When scientists working in the field of cryptozoology do become interested, they usually decide that these creatures must have wings if they are able to fly, and then decide they are really dealing with giant bats or something similar. So, yeah, snakes can't fly, and that's it. But some do. Some kind of propel themselves, don't they, out of trees?
They do. And I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. That's my whole take on sky serpents, from what I've heard in the past. Makes more sense to me. Them boys just got lost.
Yeah, but if you were in the woods and saw one up in the sky, you'd think it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Depends where you are.
Yeah.
But that isn't the end of flying snakes.
Okay.
Because next, we have the Arabian flying snakes.
Oh, nice.
Arabian flying snakes, also known as Araba, meaning Arab snake, are supposed snakes said to live near the Arabian Sea. Arabian flying snakes are shaped like water snakes with the ability of flight. They are said to have wings like that of a bat. They were said to live under frankincense trees. The Arabians would burn styrax under the trees that they wanted to harvest the incense from, because the smoke would drive the snakes away. During spring, they fly east from Arabia to Egypt, and they travel through a mountain pass where they then are attacked and eaten by ibis birds.
Whew.
When they mate, the female kills the male by biting through its neck. Where does the neck start and end on a snake?
That's true. That's a really good point.
But I suppose the female would know.
Yep.
They also give birth to live young, instead of laying eggs like other snakes. The young are said to be born by eating their way out of the womb, killing the mother in the process. In the 4th century BC, Greek historian Herodotus claimed to have seen a large number of skeletons belonging to Arabian flying snakes in the ancient city of Buto. He learned everything he knew about the snakes by the Arabs, who also showed him the mountain pass they allegedly flew through. He later wrote about this in his book, The Histories. Although flying or gliding snakes of the Chrysopelea genus do exist, none are known to have lived in the Arabian region, though. The Arabian flying snake is thought to have been exaggerated retellings of locusts. A swarm of locusts could leave behind a large number of dead insects, which may have been the skeletons Herodotus saw. Another theory is that the skeletons may have been fossilized bones of the Spinosaurus. These dinosaurs had spines along its back that supported a sail-like membrane. So, yeah, they could have just been dinosaur fossils.
That's cool.
Which then brings us to our final one. Now, I think this last one, if you were to look at the picture of a Namibian flying snake, it would make the picture you get would make a very cool tattoo. It's like a blanket.
Namibian.
Namibian flying snake. So, the Namibian flying snake is an odd gargantuan serpent that is possibly derived from the African legends of dragons.
They look
It's
badass.
described as, yeah, I think it's a very cool looking creature.
Hell yeah.
It's described as being yellow, brown, with light spots, or black. It is reported as being 9 to 25 feet long and can supposedly camouflage itself into its surroundings. It has many other strange features, such as bioluminescent crest, horns, a neck that can expand, and leathery bat-like wings that it doesn't glide with but is capable of sustained flight. It has a wingspan of 30 feet and it is said to make a loud and frightening roaring sound. It is also said to smell like tar, and to get into the air it hurls itself down hills. It is apparently covered in scales. It is found in the Karas region of Namibia. This serpent was said to have been seen in 1942 by Michael Esterhaus. He was tending to his flock of sheep on a farm 60 kilometres west of the town of Keetmanshoop when he saw a massive snake hurl itself down a hill. He said he encountered it 2 other times. In the late 50s, on a farm near Goageb, a group of farmers and missionaries were around 7 dead sheep, which were bitten by some kind of snake-like creature with 2 puncture marks that were slightly ajar. But no one understood the fact that the land surrounding them had a soot-like substance in some areas, and patches of soot were also noticed on the wool of the sheep. Another sighting was in 1978. A French farmer was tending his cattle in the Karas region when he saw a bright white light, and then he noticed it was heading straight towards him. Then afterwards he heard a massive thud and he heard one of his cattle moo in pain. As he rushed back to see what attacked the cow, he saw the snake. He quoted to the local police, "I saw what looked like, as the best matching description I can give you is that it looked like a dragon. It had a white, bright light on its head which was blinding me, and the colour of it was brown and yellow. It had green eyes, and there was a tar-like smell coming from it, and it had smoke coming out of its nostrils." The legend of this strange creature possibly derived from the legends of African dragons or the Kongamato, which could also be an exaggeration of a new species of flying snake.
Nice. And that one seems to look straight up like just a snake with wings, as you would imagine it.
Yeah, I get it. It's like if a cobra could use its flatted out spoon bit
Yeah.
as wings.
Yeah. Looks exactly like that. So not quite out the realms of believable. I like that one.
So I think my favourite one is the Namibian.
You like that one?
flying snake. Yeah, I do.
That's
It's
your guy.
by far my favourite, yeah.
We've definitely had quite a range, going from literally straight up dragons to flying snakes to more paranormal, ethereal things like the sky serpents.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to get into dragons and all that stuff because
They existed.
we know they're real.
Yeah.
So, I just thought I'd pick some of the odder ones.
I like that. That was cool. Your first story actually reminded me of. You remember Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon, with the little dungeon keeper and the unicorn and stuff. It was what was the name of the dragon? Venger, that was the bad guy, wasn't he? Tiamat. Tiamat was a dragon, and I always love that story because I think Tiamat goes into the lore of Planet X, which was also classed, I think, as that. Which smashed into the...
Yeah, it's that big evil planet, isn't it?
Exactly. And also the dragon from Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, kind of gave me those vibes. But again, like you said, could be explanations for weather, maybe even a little cheeky meteorite strike. You know, was it the first dragon that left the dragon eggs on the floor?
No, they were the Thunderbirds, I believe.
Thunderbirds, that was it.
Let me just double back a little bit.
Thunderbirds would make sense, like a meteorite shower, just smashing, leaving its rocks everywhere.
Yeah, I think it was Thunderbirds, and they're Yes, because they're thunderstones are their eggs.
That's it, Thunderstones. That's kind of badass. I'd love a fight with all these guys. The flying felines versus the sky serpents versus the dragons. Just see who wins.
I'd fight a flying feline, depending on how big it is. If it was a flying tiger or something, then no. But if it was a flying like kitten, yeah, I'd be all over it. I'd be throwing hands at that like all afternoon.
Would just need to hold this fight away from a car park. Because you imagine the bird shit coming from all this. 4-foot beasts. Imagine the dump from that.
See, that's a real big setback for flying cats, because you don't want them dumping on your car. However, I don't think I'd want a thunderbird dumping on my car or a piazza bird dumping on the car.
Nah, I wouldn't really want any of them taking a shit.
And I don't know enough about serpent turds to know if there would be a problem or not.
Well, they're paranormal, mate, and as you know, ghosts don't shit.
Oh no, they ooze ectoplasm.
Exactly. That's a good point. I've never come across a ghost taking a shit story. Maybe that's a bus home for itself. Ghosts who take dumps.
Maybe just no one's looked. No one's
Maybe.
looked into it.
We could break that story, mate. I'm going to get researching.
Well, you never see ghost hunters go into like the lab
You
when
don't
they're
hear.
doing their investigations. So if maybe someone thought to set a camera up in the John,
That's
they
a
might
really
get
good
one.
point. Yeah. If anyone's there, not twice while you're taking a dump.
Yeah,
Interesting.
you just set a camera up in there. You might see one just like having a wee or on its phone. Who knows?
Let's get on it, mate. Paranormal Activity, the toilet edition. Nice. But anyway, I digress. I like that one. That was cool. And I think, again, mate, you know me, there's a little bit of truth without proof in some of them stories. I can see, personally, I thought the first Native American story, I think that's legit. I think those boys saw something to create such a big epic mural.
But that mural is definitely real,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to look up. It's pretty much the first thing you come across when you do look into any flying monsters.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to hit that up. But no, that was good. Consider me a winged beast fan.
And that brings us to the end of that one.
Nice. I enjoyed that, Mr. Wilson. Very good, very good.
Thank you. Well, this is my stop, so ding ding.
Cool, mate. Looks like it's my stop as well. I will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Peace.